Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another Emerald City Hockey post-game live presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. And that does it. It's another year in the books of Kraken hockey. It was an interesting way to close out the year, to say the least. I mean, get a 6-5 end result. The LA Kings taking this one. I mean, in a lot of ways, this game really was kind of the perfect encapsulation of what this season was for the Seattle Kraken. We could get into all of the ways as we go through post game here, but I don't know. I'm just sad that it's over. is the bottom line. Really started to hit and kick in during that third period that this was the final game of the season, and that tomorrow is going to be locker room clean out. We're going to go and we're going to do that, and we won't see these players for months. We're not going to see the team, PR people for months. We're not going to see each other in the media groups potentially for months, and it's always sad when this part of the year comes around, kind of regardless of when it happens and the circumstances that it ends under. It is sad, but it's still just such a great job, and love being able to do all of this with the community. Love being able to meet several of you earlier at the season ticket holder event and everything, and be able to just have this connection with everybody. It's really an honor to be able to do these post-game streams and everything with all of you, and to have done it for now 4 seasons is really, really, it means a lot to both RJ and I know RJ will be on in a little bit and talk about that. Thanks for waiting a little bit to get started here. We were waiting for the player awards, the team fish eat, and then the jersey off the back ceremony out there on the ice, as it is the last home game of the season, fan appreciation night. So appreciate everybody's patience with that. One more shout out to Queen Anne Beer Hall for sponsoring the post-game lives like they always do. I don't want to say goodbye to them. I love doing these post-game shows. I love being able to do this with everybody. But big credit to Queen Anne Beer Hall for helping make it happen for us as well. So really appreciate that. Got some super chats here to kick off the chat and the conversation with. First one from Becca. Really appreciate this one, Becca. Long live Emerald City Hockey. Really appreciate that. Like I said earlier, it's really an honor to be able to do this with everybody and kind of fill this role in the space for everyone. And we're entering another off season. RJ and I will look at things, and we'll see what changes are to be made, and what situation and everything that next season is going to mean for us, and everything like that. But it is just so great being able to do this, and really appreciate the super chat there from you, Becca. It really means a lot. Next one from Light. A lot will be said of defensive issues, but this team tonight and all season never gave up, and that's what will make this team better in the future. There were defensive issues in this one. Like I said earlier, this game really encapsulated a lot of what the Kraken's problems were this season. I think defense and effort, and certainly defensive effort, were they were a challenge for them, and ultimately a challenge they weren't able to overcome in this game or this season. I think the same applies for both. But the team tried, and they went out there, they had effort, and they did have that never say die attitude that we really missed last season. And we talked a lot through last season of missing that. That was kind of the hallmarks of those, first and second year teams for the Seattle Kraken. Obviously, year one, they weren't able to do it that often and be able to come back in those games and really finish them off. But season 2, they absolutely were. But it was something that you could really bank on with the Seattle Kraken, was that they were going to have that effort till the very end. They were going to be trying in games late, and this year's squad really brought that back in a big way, and I do appreciate that. I know all of you out there appreciate that from this one. All the multi-goal comeback games that they had this year, and there were many. This game even had the multi-goal comeback at one point when the Kings were up 2-0, Kraken able to tie it, and then almost able to come back from a 4-2 deficit, and at some point a 6-3 deficit, end up making it 6-5. This team was one that really never said never. And it was really a pleasure to be able to watch that from this squad this year. Very happy that they were able to bring back that attitude, bring back that ability to, really pour it on late in games and give fans hope in a game. And that's something that was, I think, dearly missed in season 3, and really happy that it was brought back. I'm right there with you, Light. Huge that was back for this season. And yeah, unfortunately, the defensive issues, the effort issues were maybe a little bit too much to overcome at times, like they were tonight. But it's still better to have a team that is able to give you all hope late in a game like this than to be in the situation we all found ourselves in this time last season, right? I think we all probably take that. Schultz with the super chat, really appreciate it. Thanks for a great post-game season. The Kraken season might have been a flop, but you guys made this less painful. Any insight into the third jersey? Well, first, I appreciate the kind words there, Schultz. Really appreciate that, and you're in here all the time, one of the most dedicated people. I really appreciate all the support from you. We do not have any insight into the third jersey other than earlier today it was in Todd Leiwecke's office. That's all we know. He said that it was going to be unique and that it was going to help fans really feel part of the game. Now, RJ and I both immediately, we turned to each other and we both said light up jersey. That was kind of where our minds went, was some sort of jersey that maybe lights up, and then potentially the ability to sync it to things at Climate Pledge Arena. We know that through the Kraken app they do that now with the pregame show and everything. When they do the lightning and everything, it syncs to your phone through the app. Your flashlight then goes on and off as the lightning from the intro video goes off. We were wondering about maybe something like that, something like a red glowing eye on the crest from the Kraken logo, and maybe that goes off when there's a goal scored or something like that. That's where our minds went, but that is pure speculation. That's just kind of what our initial thoughts are. I know we're going to kind of brainstorm some ideas and what that might mean. My other immediate idea was that it was going to have those like custom digital like little boards, right, that you can just like type in something and it'll like kind of scroll across, and it was going to be third jerseys, and the Kraken would wear those where the nameplate is, and then fans can just kind of name the players on the fly as the game's going on. I don't think that's going to happen. I think you'd need a lot of technology to make that work, and it would probably be an issue anytime there was, say, a hard check on a player. But that was my other quick idea. I don't know that we're going to see that one, but yeah, I'm really excited for it. Said that the announcement would come later in the off season. Leiweke, I don't know if this was more off the cuff, so I don't know if he was being totally serious, but he said we'd have to wait 3 months. So I don't know when would that put us, like May, June, July, maybe sometime in July, maybe something at Dev Camp. We get some form of preview at maybe Dev Camp, maybe the draft. I don't know. Again, he said it kind of like off the top of his head, so maybe that time frame isn't totally accurate. But yeah, really interested to see what it's going to look like and what it ends up being there. Sean with the super chat. There are so many things I could say about this team and this season, but I will restrain myself. I understand, Sean. Instead, I want Dylan and RJ to know just how special you are and how much you mean to us all. Thank you for everything. Really appreciate that, Sean. Again, you're one of the ones in here all the time, and there's so many of you that are here after each and every game with us and help us get through the more difficult seasons like this one. You all experience it in many of the same ways that RJ and I do, where these years where you don't have maybe playoff aspirations, or the team isn't in it, they feel a little bit more exhausting. You feel a little bit more tired when you get to this point in the season. That playoff year, you just never felt tired, right? You never felt down. We were all riding the wave of that momentum and how special that was. And it's a little bit more challenging in the years like this, and really, without being able to do these post games each and every night, and the unique way that, even after the really bad games or the really dull games, whether they're a win or a loss, if it's just a really boring game, we're all able to come together and have fun with each other and get through it and laugh and joke and go off on our tangents and side quests and all of that kind of stuff. It helps so much. Like, without having that, I just don't know what we would do. Like if it was just me and RJ, I don't know how we would manage. We would just talk each other into oblivion, I think, after some of these. But being able to have the community out here go through everything with each other and really talk it out. We talk about them being, Emerald City therapy sessions. They really are for us too. It's not just for you guys out there. It really is for RJ and I as well to be able to kind of talk through it, digest it, and move forward. So appreciate the kind words there. Huge super chat here from Kendall. Really appreciate this, Kendall. It means a lot. Thanks, Dylan and RJ, for all that you do. This is such a cool community. Go Kraken. Also, sorry if it's been said on a post game I missed, but who are you all rooting for in the playoffs? We haven't really said who we're rooting for in the playoffs. I guess, look, everybody, if you were around for last season, I've been a big fan of this Paul Maurice, Sasha Barkov, Florida Panthers group and what they've been able to do. I was a huge fan of them last season. They got the Barkov jersey for my birthday from my wonderful girlfriend. So, I would not mind 3 straight Stanley Cup Finals appearances from them. I just talked about it yesterday on the mailbag episode. Alexander Barkov is my favorite player to watch in the National Hockey League. So there's definitely a part of me that's going to be rooting for the Cats this postseason. It's hard to do 3 years in a row, make it all the way. So maybe not expecting a ton, but they're going to be who I'm going to be rooting for. And we can remind me, please, to ask RJ when he joins us in a little bit. We can get his answer. Because I don't feel like I can speak for him on this topic. But for me, probably going to be the Florida Panthers. And it helps because it's an Eastern Conference team. So it's not like I have to go against anybody that beats up on the Kraken. It's not only that. Kraken beat up on Florida every time we play them, historically. So there we go. Edward with the super chat. And I'm liking all of these numbers here coinciding, Edward, with the super chat amount. And then here with 5 goals, sitting in 5th in the draft order. Did Dylan bring the 5 gum? I do not have the 5 gum on me, Edward, unfortunately, but that would have been perfect if I could have just reached into my bag here and pulled it out. I really wish I could. Unfortunately, I did not, especially against the Kings too. Like, are you kidding me? Everything would have come full circle. I apologize greatly, Edward, for not being able to make this a very epic moment for your super chat and pull out the 5 gum. But I appreciate the super chat nonetheless. Appreciate you always being, just the funny guy that you are, and always making all the super chats even after the bad games. A lot of fun and putting a smile on my face. I really appreciate that, Edward. Next one from Chanji. Thank you, ECH, for another great year covering the team. Looking forward to your coverage of the draft, free agency, and any trades. Good game tonight for Team Tank, at least. Yes, this was the kind of perfect tank with dignity. And I know Stratic in the Discord was like, at times, that wasn't necessarily what was happening with this group. But we were, I think we ended up there. We got there. You get Maddie scoring after taking the neon knee contact, and I'm sure we'll get to that later. I'm sure there's going to be people who want to talk about that, but takes that scary looking hit or very uncertain about what his status is, and then able to go out there and get that goal. Fantastic goal for Matty Beniers, get to 20 goals on the season. That was a huge milestone for him, and for us to be able to see for him as well. Really appreciated that moment. And this is the ideal scenario. Unfortunately, Boston couldn't get it done in overtime against New Jersey, so the 4 seed is out for us. But yeah, I think I saw it over in the chat. We're all going to be Flyer fans on Thursday, I believe. We're going to want the Flyers to win that game against Buffalo and help us out there if you're on Team Tank. And hey, now everybody can be on Team Tank because the Kraken don't have to play any more games. So you don't have to root for the Kraken to lose. You just got to root for the Flyers to win. I mean, unless you're a former Penguins fan or something, I would think we could all get on board with that. But appreciate the super chat. Appreciate all these super chats, by the way, everybody. I know I'm kind of working slow through them. I want to give everybody the time that they deserve, especially at the end of the year here. But I do know I'm looking at 56 unread messages in chat as well. So I'll try to work through this. Jessica, that was so fun. So happy for Otto. And thank you, ECH, for all the camaraderie. I'll be Peg fan for the playoffs. But see you all at Dev Camp. Going with Winnipeg. All right. Good to know, Jessica. And I think, did they get locked in to the to St. Louis, I believe, tonight is their matchup. So we'll see. We'll see how they do against that one. I think Winnipeg can survive that one. We'll see how Hellebuck looks, but I think Winnipeg can survive St. Louis there. And yeah, thank you for everything as well, Jessica. Just fantastic being able to see you, Bonnie, and everything at all the events and whatnot. Really awesome. John here with the super chat. Great to meet you guys this morning. I caught the Joey fish tonight. So stoked. We saw that RJ actually got a picture of you, John. We were looking down. We were watching where all the fish were going, and we saw you just bear hug that thing in. RJ took a picture. He'll probably send it to you on Discord later. If it came out, I don't know if it came out, but I know he was trying to get a picture anyway. But that was fantastic. That was awesome. Really pumped for you. That was really cool. And yes, it was fantastic to meet you at the brunch earlier today. Happy that the evening went well for you there, catching that one. That was really cool to see. And then super chat here from Rayanne. Thanks, RJ, Dylan, and the ECH community. Y'all make Kraken hockey so fun, so much fun. Thank you, Rayanne, for the super chat. Thank you for being around in all the ways that you're around as well. It's always nice to be able to see you at live events when we're able to, and obviously here in the post games as well. It's really awesome, and it means a lot. So thank you there for the super chat. Thank you, everybody, for the super chats. As I work my way over into chat, 17 minutes super chats. That's pretty good. I really appreciate it, everybody, and really appreciate it, all the support and all the super chats throughout the season. Really means a lot. And it really helps us do what we do here, and so I appreciate it. Zoe, what a fitting ending. It really was. So we talked about it earlier, right? The defense and the effort issues maybe costing the Kraken in this game specifically. Obviously, something that hurt the Kraken over the course of this season. I think that element of this game, mirrored the season as a whole. The multi-goal comebacks and the team being in it until late, like we talked about earlier as well, mirroring the season as a whole. Look at even the goal scorers tonight and some of the top performers for the Kraken, right? Jaden Schwartz gets a goal. Fantastic looking goal on that one. Love the passing that led to that play, developing and everything. Very much mirrors the rest of the season. Matty Beniers getting the goal, getting the 20 points, and what he was able to do. Brandon Montour getting the goal. Him having, 18 goals on the season. For Brandon Montour from the back end. Like that was fantastic to see. That very much mirrored, somebody who was able to show up in a big way this season. Eli Tolvanen picking up a goal in this one, right? Like we really just kind of went through the list of like who was the Kraken top performers this season, and they were just able to pick up goals in this one. They were able to be the top performers in this game, and that's just the way this season has been, and those have been the guys, and it was a fitting ending that they were the guys here tonight for the team as well. And Joey made some big, fantastic saves. Defense, wasn't always there to help him out at times, but he looked fantastic in this one. Your team MVP winner, and by the way, so want to give a shout out to Joey Decourt on that one. Also won the 3 Stars award here tonight, so Joey had both of those. Fan favorite, I thought, was fun. It was Brandon Montour as fan favorite this year. That was, I thought, really cool. And then the Guile Fielder Award, which is goes to the player on the team that the rest of the team is, kind of recognized for perseverance, hustle, effort, all of that kind of stuff, went to Jaden Schwartz. So those were your award winners tonight here for the team awards at the end of the season. And I think all of those are very well deserved. I think they were all great choices from all the different entities that decide those different awards. I really thought that those were all great choices, and it was great to be able to see those guys have some fun at the end of what's been an otherwise pretty long year here for everybody. Some more super chats here. Another huge one here from Sean. Really appreciate it, Sean. This means a lot. Congratulations, ECH, on another amazing season. Looking forward to bigger and better next year. You've built something to be proud of. Thanks for creating a great community and keeping us all so well informed. Treats for Afra. After we'll definitely get some treats later on tonight. Appreciate that, Sean, and yeah, appreciate all the kind words and what you're saying there. And I know I've gone on and on about all of this all night, and I'll try to keep this one brief. But yeah, it is something that RJ and I are extremely proud of, what we've been able to do here this year and all 4 years. Um, and as much as I would love to take credit for it, as much as RJ would love to take credit for it, and um, what we've been able to do, really, we were just two guys that decided to start a YouTube channel, right? To start a podcast and just like throw ourselves out there into the void, and without you all, you know, deciding to listen to us and want to take part in the interactive content that we do, like these post game lives, and wanting to, support us in the ways that you have, listen to us on Patreon and all of that kind of stuff. Really, without you guys, it doesn't mean anything, and it doesn't exist. And so, as much as RJ and I are proud of what we've been able to do, and we think we do a good job, and that we've come up with really great ideas to engage with the community and cover this team, without you all, embracing us and welcoming us into your lives in the way that you have, it just wouldn't happen. And so it really means a lot. And definitely, I want to throw all the kind words that you all are giving us. I just want to throw them right back out there to everybody else in this community that makes it all happen. Paul with the super chat, just want to say thanks for another season. ECH has made me a real hockey fan. Love hearing that, Paul. I mean, that is one of the big reasons that RJ and I do this, is just so that other people can learn to, appreciate and enjoy the game that we have loved for just about all of our lives. And we want, we're always going to be lifelong hockey fans. We want there to be more lifelong hockey fans. And if we're able to do that for people like you, Paul, it really means the world to us. And so thank you very much for letting us know that. B with the super chat, appreciate it. B, thanks for the great coverage all year. Go Kraken. Thank you for being there all year, B. I mean, one of those always in chat for these post games. Read your name off all the time. Really appreciate it. Christian, thanks ECH for another great year. Thanks everyone for making this an awesome community. How was your first full season in Seattle, Dylan? Well, thank you, Christian, for the super chat. It was really awesome. Obviously, I wish I wasn't on IR for like the month of December and into January there with my back. That was tough, having to miss all those home games and the ability to cover the team fully. Obviously was not something that was planned, but no, it was really fantastic. I know I've talked with several of you at the watch parties. 4:30 sunsets during winter. I might need a couple more winters before I fully get used to that one. That one definitely that one hit a little hard, but otherwise, I mean, just, it's such a beautiful place to live, such a fantastic community. Obviously, having everybody here, I was able to avoid the Seattle freeze. Always had friendly faces to see at KCI, at Queen Anne Beer Hall, at any of the venues we did stuff at. That started back at training camp, right? I moved up here like a week and a half before training camp started, and then at training camp, I was able to meet so many of you. As you were all coming out to watch those early practices and watch, get a first look at the team for this season. And that really helped me, feel like I belonged up here. And so I definitely want to credit everybody for helping with that. Jenna with the super chat. Dylan, will we see any ECH content this off season? I forgot what last off season was like for ECH and Patreon. Thank you for being the best and working so hard. Appreciate that, Jenna. Yes, definitely. Plenty of ECH content coming. Deep Dive continues weekly, just about all summer long. I think last season we might have taken a week or two off here or there when things were truly dead kind of in August. But yes, we'll continue with the Deep Dive. We'll cover the playoffs on Patreon. Obviously, we have our Red Glare podcast, which is our NHL-wide podcast every week. And so we'll be talking playoffs there. We switch and have our live streams kind of focus on the playoffs. So our live game commentaries continue on Patreon, and we pick playoff games and we watch those with the community. So looking forward to being able to do that with everybody. Prospect chat's obviously very important as we lead up to the draft. RJ's Armchair GM stream's very important as we lead to free agency. So definitely we'll be continuing those, and we'll start kind of transitioning over the next couple weeks on like things like the Deep Dive into having more coverage, kind of focusing on the draft, off season, what kind of players are out there for the Kraken to target, and all of that. So ECH is continuing into the off season. We'll still be there, basically in every way that we're there for you now, except for post games. And then the other thing that I'm looking forward to, just because weren't able to do it a lot earlier in the season because of how many home games this team had at the beginning of the year, and then my injury and RJ's wedding and everything, we had to push the watch parties to so late in the season. But we had so much fun. I'd love to just do some Stanley Cup playoff watch parties at places like Queen Anne Beer Hall and meet up with the community and just watch some NHL hockey and just have some fun together. So definitely looking forward to hopefully having some events like that as well with everybody. So we'll keep everybody posted for things like that. Shannon, thanks guys, and cheers to the entire ECH community for another great year. We're so lucky to have you. Looking forward to playoff hockey, draft day, and dev camp. Excited for the future. Super excited as well, Shannon. Can't thank you and Chuck enough for, earlier when I was talking about feeling so welcomed up here in Seattle. I mean, you two especially just did so much when there was help with the, getting a dog bed for Afra, or helping me with my back. And the wonderful book that you gave that really did help me help get my back just doing a lot better and everything there at Christmas time. Really means a lot, everything that the two of you have been able to do. Chuck's emails that he's been sending RJ and I with all of the stats and analytic work that he's been doing and everything. Couldn't imagine the season without the two of you. It's really, really been a pleasure getting to know both of you better and to be able to spend as much time as we have with the both of you. So I appreciate the super chat, and obviously appreciate everything that you both have done. And yes, speaking of things that we cover as things get going, I think right now the plan is for, at least I'm certainly going, and I think RJ wants to as well, to go down to the draft in Los Angeles this year. Helps that it's kind of in our own neck of the woods, can just kind of stay with the parents, cut down on the hotel costs, but would love to be able to cover the draft this season, then obviously come back up for dev camp, have our dev camp meetup after the scrimmage. We always have a wonderful time at that. It's always a great opportunity to come and meet Afra if you want to. She always has a fantastic time being able to see everybody at those meetups. So yes, definitely looking forward to those times. Wisconsin Kraken fan with the super chat. I guess we should just rename this post game live. Just everybody having a good time and celebrating the season more so than a post game live. But I really appreciate all this. 17 super chats really means a lot. Got it up to Jaden Short's number. How fitting for this season, right? Wisconsin Kraken fan with this one. RJ and Dylan, I followed the Kraken a bit, but thanks to you both, I've become a true Kraken fan. See you at CPA this fall, and first stars for you both. Cheese curds are coming. RJ would be very excited. Thank you for putting up with all the food talk. Loved it. Again, one of the great things about this community, whether it's here in the post games or on Discord during the games, on our Patreon streams during the live game commentaries, being able to talk food with the community and have that to kind of fall back on if a game's not going the Kraken's way, or if the game is just not really doing much of anything. And we've had some of those this year. It's always a pleasure. And really, so much of what we do and how we've structured ECH is for it to be community driven, for it to be about engagement with all of you, to give you guys what you want to hear, right? Obviously, you want to hear about the Kraken, you want to engage, talk about the Kraken most, and that's primarily what we're here for. But at the times when you don't, and you just want a community of people that you can ask food takes for and spend some time with and spend a couple hours just hanging out, watching a game, and just being fans, I think we're able to help fill that void and be there for everybody. And it certainly is nice for RJ and I as well, and you all are able to kind of fill that void for us as well. So definitely don't feel bad for the food talk stuff. If nobody wants to engage with it, or the game's too exciting, or something happens, right? We'll focus on the game and then come back to it in a little bit. But it's never not welcome. And appreciate having you around and coming into the fold this year as well. Huge. Wow. Jason with the massive super chat here. Really appreciate this, Jason. Fan appreciation night. How about ECH appreciation night? thank you both for creating a great community that's helped me get so into Kraken hockey. Team Tank, Team Not Tank. That group needs better branding. We're all Team 2026 now. Go Kraken. Get a huge thanks to you, Jason, for that massive super chat. Really means a lot there. Yeah, no, I appreciate the ECH appreciation night and everything. It certainly feels like it has turned into that. Sorry, Kraken, for kind of circumventing everything you were doing out here. This is about RJ and I now, apparently. But no, it's been fantastic this year, and the community has been great. Yeah, team not tank. I guess that's just like Team Kraken, Team Win. Maybe Team Win sounds pretty good. I would nominate that for everybody personally. I think that's probably good to have Team Tank and Team Win. But yes, we're all going to be on board with whatever this squad ends up looking like next year. Obviously, this offseason is going to be big. The team keeps telling us that. Ron Francis keeps telling us that. Todd Lewicki today kept telling us that. They want to make moves this offseason. They want to get better. And we'll see what that squad for 25, 26 ends up looking like. But we'll all be here. We'll all be cheering them on. We'll all be hoping for the best with them. And we'll all be here together, most importantly. And then Milo with the super chat here. Appreciate it, Milo. Thank you for everything, guys. Gonna miss Groovy so much. He's not gone yet. It's not gone yet. But yes, all signs seem to be pointing to, this being the last time Philipp Grubauer is, here in CPA as a member of the Seattle Kraken. And it's gonna be different without him for sure. It's gonna be weird. I don't know. I understand like where the team might be at with him, where certain parts of the fan base are with him, but it's going to feel strange, and it's not going to feel like the Kraken with Philipp Grubauer not being a part of it, just because he's been here since the very beginning. He was their first goaltender. He was the first kind of crowd favorite and had his Gru chance and all of that. I mean, it was so instrumental in the Kraken becoming kind of what the Kraken are. And it's going to be an interesting one. As we welcome RJ in. RJ, I'm working my way through all the super chats still.
So many I can see. Wow.
So many, yes. No, I definitely recommend at some point you go back and you read all the wonderful words and kind things that everybody has had to say about the coverage we've been able to provide for them this year, and the community and all of that. It definitely means a lot. And got another one here that you could experience. This one from Bryce. Thanks for a fun season, Dylan and RJ. If we're not able to get one of the true top 4 prospects in the draft, who should the Kraken target? So thus it begins, RJ. We're already, looking ahead at the draft. We'll see ultimately where the Kraken end up picking. Obviously, there's still some games that will help decide draft order. And then, of course, the lottery as well will ultimately be the finalizer for draft order. I kind of answered this question on yesterday's deep dive as far as some players and some options for the Kraken. I need to take a longer look at Jackson Smith. I'm very intrigued by him. So, top defensive prospect right behind Matthew Schaefer, who's potentially going to go first overall this year. He's kind of that next top defenseman. So I'm very intrigued to look at him. Plays for the Tri-City Americans as well, kind of in the Kraken's backyard there as well. Otherwise, I talked through, I like what Anton Frondel has been able to kind of put together this year. I like that he's kind of transitioning to the wing, has a big body, could become a power forward. Injury concerns are there, as he got hurt multiple times this season at transitioning to that style of play. So that worries me. Big fan of Carter Bear, but obviously significant Achilles injury with him. He's missing the next 9 to 12 months. I don't know what that's going to mean and bring, and maybe the Kraken are going to be in too aggressive a spot to maybe take somebody with that level of injury, depending on where they end up falling. But for my money, Carter Bear is probably that next guy outside of the top 4.
Yeah, and I mean, I tend to trust your evaluations on these things. I haven't really done a deep dive looking at the guys yet, but it seems like that's kind of where the Kraken will be. As far as the lottery odds, I mean, I'm sure you've mentioned this already, but they're guaranteed top 6 lottery odds. It'll either be the 5th or 6th best odds, depending on if Philly is able to pick up a point on Thursday. So if Philly picks up a point, Kraken will have the 5th best odds, and if they do not, then they'll have the 6th best.
Yeah, no, I have not mentioned it because this has been it's a lot of back patting from the community to us, and then me back to the community. That's really what this post game has been so far. So maybe the addition of RJ will get us all kind of back on track here.
Well, I appreciate you guys so much too. I mean, this is an awesome community. I know Dylan's probably said it a million times, but I am so grateful for all of you. And on Fan Appreciation Night, I want to say it myself. I appreciate each and every one of you so much. I mean, this community is what makes ECH what it is.
It really is. It really is. All right. So, lightning round with all of the comments here to get through. First one from Zach. Sums up the season well. High event hockey. Not enough time to get out of that early hole. The defensive effort dug, but still great fun to watch with the ECH community.
Yeah, and you know what? I agree with that. And Dan Bilesma just took my comment pretty much exactly, stole it from what I was going to say. Because as we were talking in the media room, it took a little while for Dan to get there, understandably talking with some of the players. I think he was talking with Billy Otavainen as well after his first career game. But I was telling everybody, it just felt like this game was the whole season in a nutshell, right? Mm-hmm. You have that like good-looking start, but then you go down 2-0 on some defensive mistakes. You erase the multi-goal deficit, of course. Then effort issues become a question. Bad defending becomes a question. But then, of course, you pick it up at the end, mount a furious comeback, and ultimately fall just short of really what your goal was. And although I don't think that the team fell just short this year, but you know what I mean. It felt like you had everything in this game that we saw all season. And then the very first thing Dan said, he said, it felt like this one was a microcosm of how the season went. A bunch of people in the media room just looked at me. But I think, a lot of people, as I see in chat, recognize that as well. And I thought it was a very fitting end to this year for the Kraken.
It was, and we did talk about that, and so my thoughts are out there. It was the season in a nutshell. That's just what this game was. Before we move on with the additional super chats that are coming in, RJ, just real quick, I do want to hear kind of what the team had to say after this one. I think we can get that in here real quick first.
Yeah, and it was pretty short talking to Brandon Montour and Ty Cartier. I mean, Montour said, talked about going behind 2-0, putting themselves in that hole they had to come back from. He said he felt like we've done that too many times this season and, focused on, getting better over the summer and improving to get to where they want to get to. Cartier talked about how awesome it is having Mike Yesamon around, how cool it was. He tried the Michigan and all that stuff. Yeah. And then from Billy Otavainen, I mean, I like the mindset from him because he said, AHL, NHL, yes, the lights are brighter here, but it's just hockey. It's still just playing a hockey game. And he found out, I guess, a couple days ago that he was going to be playing in the morning. He said he was still in bed when he got the call, but that he was excited, but the moment didn't overwhelm him.
All right. That's good to hear.
And then from Coach Dan, I mean, huh?
Oh, I was going to say, what did you think of him? Just because I know he's been your guy for a couple years now.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was kind of a solid, steady presence. As Dan said, it wasn't without mistakes, as you'd expect in a first NHL game, but I saw the makings of somebody who could be a useful contributor on a third D pair. Absolutely. I like the potential there from Billy Otavainen. I thought he was pretty solid in this one. Again, had some mistakes, but I think especially the mental makeup too. Going throughout this game and the way that he played. I didn't see what his final ice time was or, how much he ended up playing in this one, but I noticed him a fair amount early on in the game. But again, I see the potential there, and I think you can call this first game, in the grand scheme of things, a success for him.
Yeah, he had mistakes defensively, but you know what? On this team, who didn't? So can't necessarily blame him in that sense. Fit right in.
Yeah, and he picks up his first NHL point. I mean, as he was kind of walking away, we were talking about the Finns and everything, and having another Finn around and comparing himself to the others. And he said, well, Nicholas Coco, he doesn't have his first NHL point yet, so he's got that on him.
Yeah, that he does. Finished with 14-24 ice time tonight and a even plus-minus rating, which on this blue line, second behind only Jamie Alexiak.
Hey, his D partner. So there you go.
Yeah, no, pretty good stuff there. And then what did Dan have to say?
And then Dan, of course, he talked about this game kind of being the season as a microcosm, right? But then he also talked about wanting to put focus on the way that the team has played since the trade deadline over the last 19 games. And he felt that playing that way, there was a lot of good in what he's seen post-trade deadline. And, it's kind of the talking points we also heard from Ron, from Todd, all talking about the last 19 games since the trade deadline and that being playing the way that they want to play. But he said that he believes that if they play that way next season, he saw a lot of what makes them good enough to be a good team. And he was, I think, generally pleased with how it went over the final 18 games since the trade deadline. And he kind of kept coming back to that. That even, I think he was asked about just this game specifically, evaluating how the guys reacted to, the season almost being over, the level of effort they gave or didn't. And he said he didn't even want to talk about just this one game. He wanted to talk about the final 18.
Yeah, and that makes sense to me. And I know he was kind of in that mindset this morning when we talked to him as well. And you know what? We heard it from fans that we talked to earlier today as well, right? Like since the trade deadline, this group has just looked different, and there's definitely stuff to be proud of. Now, got to get to these super chats, including this big one from Chuck.
Wow.
Really appreciate it, Chuck. And I already talked about Chuck and Shannon earlier when Shannon gave her super chat. So I'll let you kind of take this one, RJ. Shannon and I went to the game. Great to get the surprise Otavainen debut and first point. Thank you and RJ for your knowledge and commitment to keeping us informed, and glad you could be up here and go to the games, Dylan. See you at Dev Camp and look forward to your playoff coverage.
Well, thank you so much, Chuck. And I mean, you and Shannon are just awesome. I mean, big part of this community. Absolutely love having you around. Get the bingo MVPs of the watch parties for sure. And yeah, I mean, it was a fun experience. And you mentioned Dylan being up here all year. I mean, that was one of the highlights of it, certainly for me, is getting to watch all these games with you, Dylan. And it's community that makes that possible, for you to be up here with me, for me to be doing something I love with my best friend. And maybe you would disagree about having to listen to me talk about this team all season. I feel like you might be a little sick of it by this point, but glad you're hanging in there.
No, only with certain takes. But I'm sure that goes both ways. It always has. It feels like with us in our friendship, we those of you who listen a lot know that we have certain takes that we really just lock onto, and we're not going to let go. But no, it's been fantastic to watch.
And we never stop bringing up.
No, we don't. I feel bad for certain other members of the press corps, though, because I eat up all your time now. Right? You're talking with me. You're hanging with me. I feel bad for people like Charles or Scott, Cheap Seat Sports.
I think the value over replacement, whatever stat you want to use there, is probably not very high. I bet they could find some better uses for their time, I would imagine.
Yeah, yes. And I don't know that Charles likes having me up here, given... he tends to be the one I pick on, not going to lie.
You always pick somebody to pick on.
He makes it so easy. It's not my fault. No, it's fantastic. He gets me. I know. He gets me back. He gets me back, everybody. Don't worry. I don't beat up on Charles too bad.
With cookies and gifts and candy and meat. He gets you back with kindness.
Yeah. Sometimes. Sometimes it's mean. Light with the super chat here. A 4th round pick defensive defenseman getting a point in his debut is very special, and that should not be lost. Obviously, we talked about Billy Otavainen and what he was able to do in this one, RJ, and be a part of it and contribute, be solid, showing off his size, and I think showing off what made him a good player in CV as well, which was kind of a surprisingly good skater for somebody with his size, and that he can be a good rangy defender. Again, a little bit similar to Jamie Alexiak in the sense that you see that big body out there. You're expecting him to play physically in a certain way, and he doesn't necessarily do that, but likes to use his stick, has an active stick, uses his long reach there, and because of that skating is able to cover ground and fill defensive gaps in a way that you're just not used to seeing somebody with that 6'5" frame be able to do.
Yeah, and I think especially when he's playing with Jamie Alexiak too, the range, the length of the stick, and the reach there, kind of hard for other players to deal with. And I liked his body position on a lot of plays where Kings dump the puck in and just preventing guys from getting in there with speed on the forecheck. I like that from him as well. And I think it's worth looking at the bigger picture too. The Kraken, I believe, are the first team to have 5 draft picks from the 2021 class all play an NHL game. And I think that is a big accomplishment in itself. And I mean, a lot of credit, I think, should go to the scouting staff for finding these players, the development staff, especially down in CV, from working with them and getting them to this level, because that's just really not something that anyone can say about that draft class quite yet, besides the Kraken.
Right, and I know so much of the talk, like especially today with the confirmation that Ron was coming back and everything, so much of the discussion around Ron Francis being the general manager of this team coming back this year, the speculation around him coming back or not coming back, so much of what everybody has talked about has been, well, look, all these guys that have been drafted, how they're developing, how good they look, how highly rated the Kraken prospect system is. And, yes, Ron obviously gets credit for putting together the scouting staff, for helping create what the Coachella Valley Firebirds have become, and the staff that they have down there, and the player development staff that the Kraken have that work with these guys, not just in Coachella Valley, but also wherever they are in the world, right? Whether they're playing in Europe or playing major junior and all of that stuff. Ron really put that together. But yes, let's not lose sight of the work that those people do each and every day. The staff down there in Coachella Valley, and they're incredible. And the culture that's been built down there, just from the top down, has been fantastic. And we hear it from so many guys, whether it's the young guys coming over from Europe and playing in North America for the first time, or the young kids coming from the CHL and going to Coachella Valley for their first real, test of pro level hockey. How meaningful and how welcoming everybody is there, and how they put them in a place to succeed, how they help take care of them from a housing perspective. They help them transition into, adulthood, where they've got to live on their own potentially for the very first time. How they just help them make that transition, whether it's to a new country or to the pro game. Everything that they do down there is really fantastic. And while, yes, Ron Francis assembled that group, it's on that group to actually go out there and do the work, and they are absolutely doing the work. And same thing with the scouting staff, right? Like it's one thing to bring in the people that you think are going to do a good job. It's another thing for them to do a good job. And this scouting staff absolutely does an amazing job each and every draft, and we're really seeing that with the prospects that are developing the way they are.
Yeah, and also don't forget the analytics team as well, because I know they focus on the amateur side too. I know like Namita Nentakumar is big into the amateur side for the analytics, and looking at those players that are entering the draft, and that's another area where the team has invested. They've assembled a really good team, and I think it's paying dividends.
Yep, definitely. And then next super chat, this one from Steve with the message sent by Liwiki. Who is the biggest target in free agency, RJ?
Well, the biggest target is Mitch Barner. Whether he would actually be willing to come to Seattle is a different question. And I have my doubts about whether he'd be willing to come here. Beyond that, it's probably guys like a Nikolai Ehlers or a Brock Besser. Honestly, not that inspiring of a free agent class outside of Mitch Marner. And we'll, of course, do a deep dive into that as we get into the offseason. But Marner would be the only, I guess, sufficiently big name to really move the needle, I think.
He's the only star level player that you can bring in that's going to be able to really, have the skill to be able to kind of single-handedly pick up a team and kind of take them, to another step and to the next level. There's probably nobody else out there. Otherwise, yeah, you're looking at more. I would argue Nick Ehlers, Brock Besser, more top six than middle six wingers, but you are talking about kind of that level of player where you're talking 25 goals probably, and what they're able to add to the group. And hey, that would add to this group for the Seattle Kraken for sure, but it's not going to necessarily be one addition that's going to be able to take you to the playoffs next year.
Yeah, well said. And so I think it's going to have to be on the trade market. That's where the big moves are going to have to be made.
Yep. Edward with the super chat. Shout out to the true MVP of Post Game Live, the Beam. Right here. Let's go.
The Beam is back. One last one up there.
Yep. Seriously, thank you, Dylan, RJ, and the ECH community for making following this team so fun. I already gave Edward some kudos earlier, RJ. I'll let you do so now.
Yeah, I mean, big thanks to you, Edward, for all the clever turns of phrase and just every comment from you. We know it's something that's going to be funny or thought provoking, and so really appreciate all that from you, Edward, all season long. You always seem to find something every single game. With a great comment. So really appreciate having you here, Edward.
Definitely is. We're up to Jamie Alexiak level super chats.
Wow.
24 of them so far this evening. I want to give you a chance, RJ, and obviously there's no, look, everybody, sorry, there's no way I'm catching up in chat here. It's not happening. I'm sure you all understand. In the last 10 minutes, I'll probably won't be able to get through the 100 plus super chat, 100 plus chats that we have here. But RJ, I talked about this earlier, and I know several people have put it in chat, and we've had earlier super chats for it. But just the fact that this team was able to refine that kind of never say die attitude And even in a game like this one, right, come back from multi-goal deficit, almost a couple times in it. But just their ability to finish games like tonight strong, even though they weren't able to pick up the win, the fact that they've been able to have as many multi-goal comebacks as they've had and had the performance like tonight, just kind of what that means. And while you talk about that, I think it's time for like one last season 4 lemon lime Gatorade time, baby.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, we'll talk about that comeback spirit. It's something that I really hope that they can bottle and use and dig into next season. Oh, bottle, exactly. There you go. I mean, it's like just like it's Edward, but I didn't even realize it. That they can use next season in those moments where they can, as a team, kind of believe that they can come back and get themselves into any game. And even Coach Dan said, knowing how this team is and talking about how it was a microcosm of the season, you said, if we come back, we get that 5th goal. And, if I had to put a bet on it, I am absolutely betting that we get that 6th one and tie the game, because just that's what this team is. And so you'd like to be able to kind of set it aside, compartmentalize it, be able to dig into it and utilize it and fix the other things around it. And I think at least going into next season, it really should convince anybody on this team that no deficit is too great at any point in the game. And hopefully, convince, the fans and everybody too, where we can remember this, where hopefully next season, they don't put themselves in these holes as often. But throughout an 82-game season, you're going to trail. You're going to trail by multiple goals. That just happens over the course of the season. And when that does happen, it's going to give the players hope they can come back. Hopefully that translates into more standings points. But also, I think most importantly, really, just for us watching the game, especially for fans, it's going to give them hope that the game's not over. And that's just something that you've talked about last season versus this season, and which is more or less fun to watch and follow. Last season, there was none of that. And we remember what that feels like. And this feeling of, at least, when you are trailing 2 goals or 3 goals, this feeling is a lot better.
Oh, definitely. It's I think we know for a fact it's better, and I don't know that anybody would fight us on that one. Good night, Pablo. I hope you have a good evening. Appreciate that, Edward, with the fine chug, Dylan and Milo. Poor Dylan's gonna be so dehydrated with no lemon lime Gatorade time, baby, until October. I guess I'm just gonna have to find a way or other aspects of my life where I can reward myself with some Gatorade.
Yeah, there you go. For the little wins in life, you can just have a Gatorade, or I dare I say, drink some water. No, that's unthinkable.
No. These days it's about all that I drink: water and lemon lime Gatorade. It's not the worst thing in the world, I'm sure.
No, that's fine.
My doctor's not in here. He doesn't have to know. Got this from Steve, who had given that last super chat. Actually meant trade market. So
okay.
The biggest free agency target meant trade target. So I will give you the chance to talk about that here briefly.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to predict. I think tougher certainly than free agents, because whose contract is expiring. But the trade market can be really difficult to predict, because the names that are out there right now, because it's kind of left over from the deadline and looking at contracts that are up in maybe a year, there is nobody in that difference maker tier. Dylan, correct me if you can think of anybody, but there is just nobody in that tier that's available right now. I went over a list on the Armchair GM stream last month of guys that maybe could potentially shake loose, and it included names like a Matt Barzal if the Islanders decide to kind of have a change in leadership and refresh and everything. A David Pastrnak if the Bruins want to really just tear it all down, but I cannot see them doing that, given that they're going to have top 4 lottery odds, so that's out. And then a guy like Elias Pettersson, who I know, Dylan, you and I have debated that on the Deep Dive podcast, whether that would be a good move for the Kraken or not. But he's somebody who I'm sure his name is going to be swirling in trade rumors this offseason. So that's a very high risk, high reward type of guy. But it might have to come down to a decision like that.
I want to throw a name out there, just because what I was going to say is, generally when it comes to larger trades that happen over the offseason, they're names that weren't necessarily out there, or they weren't the most obvious names, and it comes from turnover for the front office, usually for certain teams, and new general managers kind of wanting to remake the roster in their image, or maybe a team realizing they need to start over, something like that. one team that I think is going to not necessarily have a change in the front office, but they had a big change in the coach, and I think they're going to have to start over and kind of rebuild the team with maybe a slightly different identity, is the Philadelphia Flyers, who we're going to be rooting for in their upcoming game for the Kraken's lottery odds there.
You thinking Konechny?
What about Travis Konechny? Yeah, because I could see that maybe being a piece where, Danny Briere came out, general manager of the Flyers, and after the Tortorella thing said, look, we're at the bottom of our rebuild now, right? Like we're down there, we're in it right now. Like there is no kind of the light at the end of the tunnel is very small right now. I do wonder about a Travis Konechny, and I know his name has been floated out there before, but this offseason, as they're transitioning and maybe trying to go into a different direction, build around Matvei Michkov, I do wonder about a guy like him.
I think he would be a very good fit for the Kraken. I mean, he's a winger who can score, also provides a little bit of an edge sometimes, and I think he also has success. He's proven it with Philly, playing in an environment where there really isn't any super high-end talent, right? He has been the guy that's driven things, that's created there, and put up some surprisingly good numbers on a Philly team that hasn't always had the most talent. So, I mean, he would be expensive, but I don't remember how old he is. I want to say like 29?
He's late 20s for sure.
So the timeline is a little late age-wise, but he might be as good of a fit as is out there. And I'm glad you brought up his name, because I haven't really heard of a better, more realistic trade target.
Yeah, no, I think he's somebody that they should target, and I think could be available. And I think, as we get a clearer picture over the next couple of days or the next couple of weeks, really, what other teams might be making changes to their front offices, maybe signaling that they could be going in different directions. If Steve Yzerman ends up getting fired in a Detroit or something like that, I think then that opens up opportunities for players from those teams, maybe a Buffalo if they go through a change there. And then you can start looking at those rosters and kind of piece together who might be available or who you could step in and make a trade for. But it is a lot harder to kind of just think of, unless they're saying straight up that they want out of somewhere like Marty Necas last year in Carolina, it is hard to just kind of off the cuff know who the top, tradable guys are going to be.
Yeah, the chatter really begins once the playoffs end. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of guys' names start hitting the market and that trade chatter. And there are going to be some names that come up that we're going to lock on to be like, oh, he's available? Okay, yeah, Kraken should be all over this.
Yep. So unfortunately, Steve, it's a little bit of a wait and see kind of thing when it comes to the trade market. It really does have to kind of develop out that way. A couple more super chats here that I think we could probably end the post game live on. And again, thank you all so much for this. I wish we could stay with everybody forever doing this, but it is 11:30 already because this game started so late. Lindsay Hockey Fiend with this first one here. My parents went to this game and had a blast. I wish I could have been in two places at once. I just got back to Anchorage from Spokane. I'm so glad I got to see Catton play in person. I've got my notes. Can't wait to hear those notes on Berkeley Catton. That sounds fantastic. Hopefully we'll be able to talk about that during a prospect chat or something like that. Or if you want to throw some in here real quick over in chat, I can react to them quickly. But yeah, that's awesome. Glad your parents were able to enjoy this one, and glad you're back up in Alaska safe.
Yeah, glad to hear that, Lindsay. I mean, so happy you got to see Berkeley Catton in person. I mean, that's something I haven't even gotten to do yet at the junior level. I kind of jealous of that. Eager to hear your notes, and glad your parents got to enjoy this game. I mean, I think, loss aside, right? I think it was a fun game for everybody who went to this one. They kept it in there till the very end, and I just seeing everyone on Fan Appreciation Night, the vibes are just always good, regardless of how the game goes.
Yeah. Schultz with the super chat here. What's your fantasy Kraken offseason headline? Mine is Gru gets traded. Enjoy your offseason. That would definitely be one if they were able to move Gru like that. I think mine would either be that they sign Mitch Marner or that they trade for an extremely high level player like a David Pastrnak.
Yeah, I mean, you took mine, right? That's kind of the most important thing they need to do. I don't know if it's going to be possible, but if they can get a true high end difference maker, I am so interested again, right? That is my dream headline. I would love to wake up to that news, and that would fuel me the whole rest of the offseason to be excited covering the team.
Or Kraken win draft lottery, I think that
Yeah,
would be
that's
extremely
another one.
exciting. That would be a lot of fun. That would be a cool one to see. Or building off of that, Kraken win draft lottery, draft reclassifies, Gavin McKenna's available.
That'd be one heck of a dream.
They go January to December on birth years. Gavin McKenna's now eligible for this year's draft. Let's go.
There you go. Let's start the petition, or somehow start the movement here. I guess wait till the Kraken win the lottery and then start
Wait till
it
the
off.
Kraken win the lottery first. Yes, and then we do it. El Bell with the super chat here. Appreciated, El Bell. Huge thanks to both of you for all you've done this season. For all of us Kraken fans abroad, you've enabled us to feel a part of this community and fandom. We appreciate it more than we can say, and always appreciate you being in chat, El Bell, and your, how you've been a part of this community and everything like that.
Yeah, really appreciate you, El Bell. And I mean, that's the kind of the point of what we're doing, is trying to make everyone feel like they can come together. And I mean, we're very lucky we get to be in the building for each and every home game. But we know there's people all over the world, right? That it's kind of hard to follow a team. Gosh, especially like in Europe and Australia and all different areas of the world. That if we can kind of bring everyone together and have a community where we feel like everyone feels like they're here enjoying it all together, like, then we've done our job.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, no, it's been such an incredible ride. I've obviously talked a bunch about this and everything, and how much the season has meant being up here. It's just been such a ride. I want to give you a chance, RJ, just to reflect on the season real quick, and then unfortunately, like I said, we do have to go, because in about 8.5 hours we got to be at KCI to get ready for locker cleanout.
Yeah, quick turnaround for player exit interviews. It's going to be a very busy day tomorrow. I mean, whole day type of thing. But stay tuned. I'll be on the social media giving everyone updates on that and quotes from the players and Dan and all that good stuff. So stay tuned there. But yeah, I do want to thank everyone and reflect on this season. I mean, I feel like the real reflection doesn't happen until we end this. I just look back at the ice and just think, man, I'm not going to be here again for a while, and the thoughts just kind of start flooding into my head. But I mean, I think it says something that, given the season on the ice and everything, and we know we've kind of expressed our frustrations with how the team has done, that I'm still feeling so strongly right now that I'm going to miss this. And especially in a post-game setting like this, where it's so interactive with everybody and live, and it feels like we're all together with everyone. I'm going to miss it so much as soon as this is over. And I'm so grateful that we have gotten to do this for, I should have done the math beforehand, but 82 times 4 plus 14 times, and gotten to reflect after each and every Kraken game with everybody. And I think, that's really what the season is. It's made up of lots of little moments that just kind of make those memories and that stick with you, forever. And that's kind of what I'm going to remember out of this season, is just the hundreds of little moments, whether it's after a game like this, chatting with people at our watch parties, getting to meet some of you for the first time or hang out with you again, or getting to spend all those moments up in the press box with you and the others in the media, and just joking around and having a good time. That's really what it's all about. It's about the people. It's about the community. And that's when I think back on the season, that's just what I'm most grateful for, is time well spent with really good people.
Yep. No, it means the world. And we'll kind of close it on this. Well, outside of course, thank you, Queen Anne Beer Hall, for sponsoring the post game this season and everything, and having them on board for now yet another season, and being with us. Of course, want to make sure we thank them. But I was talking with Chuck actually this morning before you got to morning skate, and he was telling me, and I wish I remember specifically the book reference that he made, but it was a quote from a book about kind of the consistency and leaving a diary, and how we, through everything that we've done, have kind of left this diary, you and I, and it's kind of recorded, like the history of the Kraken, and kind of how all these games have gone with these post games and all of that. But it's not just us, right? Like, that's the cool thing about how we've done this, is that it's really recorded that and become this kind of open, almost living diary for everybody, where you can go back and you can revisit any game in Kraken history, and you'll be able to kind of know how it went down, what the community thought about it, what you and I thought about it. And that's like a really cool thing to think about, right? Like that's not a perspective that I necessarily had kind of, going into this, because it's just like, okay, we do it, we have fun on the stream, and then after like 24 hours, it's in the past, it's on to the next one or whatever. But yeah, that the fact that there is this record of what fans thought of this team after each and every single game, all living here on the ECH post game live, it's pretty cool to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just the ability to kind of be able to go back into the past and pick any one moment. That's what I was talking about, where it's a collection of these memories that make up an entire season, and through 4 years, to be able to go back to really any one of those nights and kind of relive it with everybody and feel what everyone was feeling. That's really special. I feel like we've only kind of scratched the surface of it, because we're still doing this, right? We're still in the moment, but it's something even 20, 30 years, I feel like we could go back and, we'll be hanging out at one of each other's houses, hopefully with our kids and everything, and just put one of those on the TV and be like, oh man, remember that game, and how we all felt, and go through the chat and be like, oh yeah, remember all the people there. And it's just, I can't wait. I don't know. It's
yeah. And
I love that stuff. I'll go over old photos forever.
Yes.
And it's the kind of thing I'm really, really going to treasure for a long time.
Yes, no, and you have talked to me about that privately many times as well, how much you look kind of forward to that. And we do have the number here in chat from everybody, 342.
342 post-game live shows.
I will tell you this, and I think it's a good thing. It doesn't feel like it's that many. Like, that number seems shockingly large.
I know, I can't believe it. 342.
It is crazy. But we do have to end this one. We do have to say goodbye to season 4, the Seattle Kraken. Really appreciate you all season long, all of your support. Appreciate all of the kind words and messages that you all had tonight through, the chat and through super chats, all of that. Really appreciate it. But for the last time this season on Post Game Live, I gotta say that we'll see you all next time.